Hey there, I'm back. It's been 3 months since my last Eureka video. Eureka is Edgar Allan Poe's final published work, and it uncovers what he calls the metaphysical truths of our reality. What if I told you that Edgar Allan Poe revealed the Big Bang before the Big Bang was ever a theory, long before it was even proposed? And yet, he almost never gets any recognition for it. In this video, we're focusing on Poe's view of gravity. Even today, science still can't explain where gravity comes from. We can measure it, we can calculate its effects, but its ultimate origin remains a mystery. And in this world of science and mathematics, when we can't trace something back to its origin, it's almost as if, in a scientific sense, it doesn't fully exist. Think about this for a moment. In our world, we expect anything that exists to be explainable. Yet gravity, the very thing that holds everything together, is still unexplained. So, yes, we live by the pull of gravity, but we don't know its cause. And Poe had something to say about that. If you're new here, my name is DeFlor, and I am building this channel to explore literature, language, spirituality, and universal truths. You can follow me across all platforms at Isabel Ethereal. I know 3 months is a long time, but I promise to be more consistent in bringing you this type of content. This is the third video in my Eureka series. I'm breaking down Poe's book section by section in chronological order so you don't have to get lost in the complexity of the text. I've also posted this section we're discussing today on my website, full on text with my annotations for easier reading. You can find a direct link in my comments. So let's get back into it. In video one, we begin with Poe's idea of original unity. In the beginning, everything was one. No separation, no stars, no atoms, no complexity, just a single indivisible whole. That one creation unfolds, and the one becomes many sun, stars, worlds, particles. In video two, we explore Poe's understanding of the finite and infinite. Infinity, he says, is not an endless extension, but an endless possibility. The finite universe is measurable, and yet it's finite. It cannot expand forever, and one day it must return to its source. Poe insists that the universe isn't drifting into nothingness, it is held in a cycle of expansion and reunion. And now, in video three, we take that vision into the language of science. Now, Poe turns to Newton's law of gravity, the idea that every particle of matter attracts every other. In that law, it explains why apples fall, why moons orbit, and planets stay on their paths. Most of us think this is settled and an ultimate truth, but Poe asked us to look deeper. He honors Newton but insists that gravity is not merely a mechanical force, it is a sign, a symbol of something greater. For Poe, gravity is the soul of the universe expressed in matter, the universal call of all things to return to their source. One quick note before we dive in. Poe was raising these questions about Newton almost 70 years before Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein reframed gravity as the curvature of spacetime, and this is what we now call the theory of relativity. Poe begins this section of Eureka by discarding the words we're used to hearing, gravitation and electricity. He says they're too narrow and too misleading. Instead, he gives us something more primal, attraction and repulsion. Attraction he calls the body, the principle of drawing together. Repulsion he calls the soul, the principle of pushing things apart. Notice what he's done. These aren't physical forces anymore. He's elevated them into metaphysical truths. These are twin principles of existence themselves. Newton told us that every particle attracts every other particle proportional to mass and inversely proportional to the square of distance. And that law works. And it explains apples, moons, planets. To us, it feels like ultimate truth, but Poe asked, does this law actually explain why, or does it simply describe what we already see? For him, Newton's law is powerful, but incomplete. It shows attraction body to body, but it doesn't reveal the universal return of all matter to its source. It looks like diffusion, not reunion. Here, Poe takes aim at the very idea of proof. Newton demonstrates consistency. His law matches appearances, but appearances alone do not reveal ultimate truth. Poe says truth must be suggested, it must be perceived intuitively. And so he pauses in awe. He asks us to stop and marvel. Every atom attracts every other atom, everywhere, forever. Think of a cannonball, its atoms outnumbering the stars in the sky, each one of them reaching to each other. Or think of a speck of dust drifting in a sunbeam. Say it moves a billionth of an inch, and you shake the moon out of her path and you alter the sun, shifting the destiny of the stars. This is not just science, it's reverie. The mystical vision of unity is hidden in every relation. And here, Poe is foreshadowing what we call the butterfly effect. It is the idea that the smallest action ripples outward, changing the whole. In his own words, Poe is less sure of his own heartbeat, his own soul, even the rising of the sun, than he is of the fact that all things once sprang from the one. From here, Poe draws on Dr. Nicholl, who admitted that Newton's law cannot be ultimate. It lacks the simplicity of geometric axioms. Poe agrees, but pushes further. The only true ultimate law, he says, is the violation of God, unity itself. Because mathematics alone cannot grasp metaphysical truth. And then Poe makes his boldest declaration. He says the true mode of gravity is simple if you see it from the right perspective. Matter was once irradiated outward from unity, scattered into diffusion. And now in its return, it has to follow the same law in reverse. Think of light. At twice the distance, it spreads over 4 surfaces. At 3 times, 9. At 4 times, 16. That's the inverse square law of diffusion. And if matter once spread outward by this law, then in its return it must contract by the same law. Gravitation is simply irradiation reversed. This gives us Poe's triad: unity, the primordial one; diffusion, the scattering of atoms into complexity; irradiation, the geometric law that governs both scattering and return. So gravity is not a mystery, it is symmetry. The law of return mirrors the law of expansion. And finally, Poe points upwards. Look at the stars, they are broadly uniform, equidistant, and yet infinitely irregular, infinitely varied. Exactly what we would expect if atoms once diffused from unity. Even through their roughness and unevenness, these are not flaws, but these are clues. So, in this section of Eureka, Poe takes us from Newton's law of gravity to his own metaphysical law. Gravity is not just a downward pull, and it is not a fall to the center. It is a cosmic longing to return to the one. Eureka matters because Poe refuses to let us stop at the descriptions, and he demands us to seek meaning, that we see the metaphysical behind the mathematical, the soul within the science. In the next video, we'll keep following Poe as he unfolds the destiny of the universe, the cycle of expansion and return, and the mystery of creation, as the act of unity diffusing itself into multiplicity. Thank you for watching. After 3 months away, I am back, and I'll be posting more content. Give this video a like. I will see you soon.